What's up, guys? This is Kyle from Vapor Hut, driven by you, fueled by vapor, and it's a brand new year. 2016 is here, and I'm really excited to see what happens for us as an industry, as a community this year, 2016. What kind of technologies we might start to see. Is ceramic going to be the new coil material of atomizers? And what kind of regulations go into effect, because you and I both know big pharma and big tobacco wants to shut us down. There's a new documentary that's going to be coming out this year. I don't know quite when. I think it's the first quarter of 2016 though. It's called A Billion Lives, and I'll post a link to that video, the trailer of that documentary that's going to be coming out. But it just looks like an excellent documentary. Aaron Biebert is the director, and it seems like his mission is to show how big pharma and big tobacco have had their hand in trying to demonize vaping in order to scare and fearmonger smokers and try and push them away from maybe trying a life-saving product like a vaporizer. But definitely check out that video and share that with a family member or friend. Okay, so today is not necessarily about 2016. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Cortex TC and the iSub S from Innokin. So quick backstory, I've been playing with the Cortex and the iSub S for a couple days now, and yesterday I did the review on this, and I kind of botched the whole thing basically. I said the temperature control was terrible, that I did a dry cotton burn test and it burnt the cotton, singed it black, even caught fire at 450 degrees. So I was really kind of puzzled, and I thought this device, as much as I like it, and we're going to get into it, I thought the temperature control just doesn't work very well. So I was just running it on normal wattage mode, and then my coworker and friend Josh says, hey, did you try throwing a different nickel build on there to see if it's maybe just the tank? And so we took off his crown tank with his nickel coil, popped it on here, and it worked great. So then I thought, although I had a bad experience with the nickel coils for the iSub S, maybe I'll have better luck with the titanium. So I threw a titanium coil in this tank, put it into the Temp TI, and it worked great. So I realized, for whatever reason, it just seems to be the pairing between the Cortex and the iSub S with the nickel coils where temperature control just doesn't work very well. Otherwise, this iCarno S1 chip that Innokin's been working on for like a year in this Cortex is absolutely awesome. I mean, I think for the first time we're looking at true temp control in terms of the accuracy of the temperature itself. In my experience, I'm used to running temperature control devices around 450 degrees to about 550 degrees. That's been kind of my range, my sort of comfort range. 550 is a nice warm vape, 450 is a tad cooler but still nice and warm. With this device, you are not going up into those kinds of temperatures. 450 is a hot vape, 500 is unbearable. 400 is a nice warm vape. I've been running this titanium coil at 370, and look, I'm getting clouds, I'm getting flavor. That's 370 degrees. So to my mind, I think that's actually more accurate than what I've become kind of accustomed to with other temperature control devices. So that's my little story. I did this review yesterday, thought the temperature control was terrible. Turns out it might be the best I've ever used. So you can see why I decided not to put up that video and go back and redo this from scratch. So let's go ahead and start with the Cortex itself, the device. This is a powder-coated anodized aluminum. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's extremely comfortable in the hands. It could be a little bit slippery. If your hands are really dry, I could totally see this just slipping right out of your hands. But otherwise, it feels fantastic. One thing, aesthetically, the button is almost perfectly flush with the device. So when you're just grabbing this and you're going to find the button, it can be a little hard to find. You kind of have to feel around for it, and there is a little bit of an edge, so it's not like it's impossible, but it is hard to see. It's not exactly protruding from the device like some other buttons we see. Now the Cortex is an 80-watt device. It does temperature control, like I've said, for nickel and titanium, and in wattage mode, it'll fire down to a 0.1 ohm coil. Now the battery of the Cortex is built in. It's a built-in 3300 mAh battery, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the last 3 days that I've been using this, and this only, I've been touching my other devices, but not really using them much. This has lasted me all day, which is just awesome. Not to mention the micro USB charging port is a 2 amp charger, so you're looking at about an hour and a half. This thing goes from fully dead to fully charged. So even if this weren't gonna last you the day, you pop this on a charger for 30 minutes and you're back up to about 75% battery. So it's pretty awesome. Although it's built in, so when this does go, you're kind of screwed. You kind of have to buy a new device. But otherwise, as far as built-in batteries go, my kind of rule of thumb is it better last me the day if it's built in. Because if it's built in, it means I can't just slap in new batteries. So like a cell phone, I want that thing to last all the way till nighttime when I'm gonna plug it in before I go to bed. And the Cortex does that. Now you might have noticed the screen is not on the outside or the body of the device, but it's on the bottom of the device. Kind of that Vapor Shark style going on. I like it. I think it gives to a kind of minimalistic look of the Cortex itself. However, it is kind of a pain to be looking at the bottom, and then the way it's orientated isn't like this way or that way, but rather this way or that way vertically. So depending on which way, I normally hit this with my pointer finger. So when I go to turn this up, it's upside down. You don't have to look at the screen very often, so it's not a huge deal, but the screen is on the bottom, and it does have a nice little lip. So when you do set down the Cortex, you're not sitting it down on the screen. Now, in terms of the screen and the interface, I actually really like it. Something Innokin does with its devices is once you've set the wattage or set the temperature, it kind of automatically locks you there. You don't have to hold power up, power down to key lock like you would on a Joytech. It's gonna automatically be locked. So to change your wattage or your temperature, you have to hold power up or power down until that number starts flashing, and then you're able to adjust it. On the one hand, this is really awesome, so you don't have to worry about going ahead and locking your wattage or temperature on the fly. But on the other hand, if you want to adjust your temperature quite often, or you're trying to fine tune it at a particular time and place, it's gonna be kind of a nuisance. You're gonna have to hold it, flash, take it up to your temperature or down to your temperature or wattage, then try it. Okay, I think I need a little bit more. Where on other devices you just click, click, and now you're there. With this, you have to hold again until it flashes. So I really like the feature because I don't find myself changing my wattage or my temperature very often. And when I do, I don't want to have to, unlock and then relock or do any of that. I like the automatic lock feature on Innokin products, especially this Cortex. Moving on to the iSub S. It's a nice looking tank. It performs fairly well. It's certainly not my favorite. I've been kind of using these as a pair because they came as a pair, as kind of a kit. There's a few things I really like about it. The top fill is as easy as it gets. I mean, you just twist the top and 2 holes open. You fill it through one of those holes, either one, and you close it and you're done. You don't even have to wipe anything off, really. You'll get a little bit of juice or condensation here on the top where those fill holes are, but it's never so much that it's like dripping off the side. The second thing I really like about the iSub S is it holds 4.5 milliliters of e-liquid, so that's just awesome. We have a lot of juice capacity here, and I've never had a leaking issue with this tank so far. With leaking, it's been absolutely remarkable. I mean, we're not even talking a drop out of the side, so that is impressive. The airflow ring is also pretty cool. It's got that nice clicky. You can kind of hear that. The airflow ring will click. There's also kind of a secondary airflow adjustment, so you can go from the 2 sides fully open to one side closed with the other side having 3 little holes in it. So if you do like the tighter draw, you can switch it right over into that mode, and then if you keep going, you will close off all of the airflow completely. And the last cool thing about really all Innokin tanks, as far as I know, especially the iSub series, when you change out the coil, it's the easiest, cleanest way to remove an atomizer. The bottom ring comes off and the atomizer just pulls out. The atomizer is the 510 connection. So with other tanks, the base of the tank has that 510 threading and pin in it. So if that threading goes out, you basically need to buy a new tank, or at least a new base. Whereas with the Innokin tanks, with the iSub series specifically, if your 510 threading goes out, you literally just replace your atomizer. So every time you replace your atomizer, you are putting fresh, threads onto the tank. I think that's a really cool feature. It's gonna lead to less wear and tear on your device's threads, as well as being a super simple way to remove your atomizer. So if you're going from the nickel to the titanium to the Clapton to the 0.5, if you're going from one of these coils to another one, you don't have to worry about how full your tank is. You're just gonna prime that coil, pull out the old one, pop in your new one, and screw on the bottom ring, and you're done. All of those things make this tank sound amazing, and in all respects, it is a really nice tank. The one thing for me, I'm a flavor chaser. I don't care about blowing these massive clouds. I just want a really good flavor. And for me, this tank doesn't produce that great of flavor. I mean, it's there, but it's just not spot on. It's not picking out the kind of notes that I get with other tanks. And then the other thing that is kind of a drawback for me about this tank is I do get a little bit of spit back. It takes a good 3 to 4 hours of vaping on it to minimize the spit back, but it's still always kind of there. But once you get past that spit back after about 3 or 4 hours or so, it's not bad. Like I said, if you do have this kit, if you pick this up or you got this for Christmas or New Year's or whatever, you're gonna love it. You're absolutely gonna love the Cortex and the iSub S. But otherwise, I'd recommend maybe picking up a different tank for this guy. Because we're talking, this is an awesome battery and it's an okay tank. I am just absolutely in love with the Cortex from Innokin. Well, that's my review of the Cortex TC and the iSub S from Innokin. If you guys need to see a walkthrough on how to set up and use the Cortex and the iSub S, just go ahead and click on this link. Otherwise, this has been Kyle from Vapor Hut, driven by you, fueled by vapor. Have a great day, guys.